Cook on Sunday, eat till Thursday. I'm Allie and you're watching Economy Bites. So today we're going to be making Dan Noodles, which is a Szechuan Chinese recipe that growing up was one of my favorites and was my little brother's absolute favorite thing that he would ever eat. So Matthew Schwartz, this episode is dedicated to you. So we're going to start by marinating a pound of ground pork. Hey mama. Okay, we'll just put it on the plate with 2 tablespoons of low sodium light soy sauce. Actual soy sauce, you forget how incredibly salty it is. So if you're using actual soy sauce, you're gonna wanna use significantly less. 2 teaspoons of red wine vinegar. I know that in Chinese restaurants, they use black rice vinegar. A tiny little thing of black rice vinegar was like $6. So I decided to substitute red wine vinegar. I did a lot of research when I was putting this recipe together. Dan means carry or something like that. They would carry buckets of Dan noodles, like walking down the street, and people would eat them, you know, would take a serving. So they're like a lunch thing that you would eat on the street in China, in the Szechuan area, southern China. See, I learned. We're gonna let this marinate for about 20 minutes. Let's get started on chopping some of our veggies for these Dan noodles. This is ginger. Where's my knife? Daniel, you see my knife? These are Daniel noodles. Daniel, have you ever had Dan noodles? Your mom actually named you after these noodles, is what you don't know. They're delicious, and certainly less caloric if you make them at home. So we're gonna need 2 tablespoons of ginger. Now I'm always so afraid when I'm making Asian food at home for the very first time. Not afraid, that's not the right word, but it's always a little bit harder. I pay attention to the recipe definitely a lot more the very first time around. This recipe we have here that I'm making today is something that you can start with and then you can definitely add to it. If you don't like pork, you know, you could do the same thing with ground chicken, ground beef. You could use tofu too, easily. You could so easily use tofu. 3 cloves of garlic. Un, deux, trois. Money and drinking. If you live in a city with a Chinatown, not that I'm promoting like cultural appropriation or anything like that. You can find all kinds of stuff in Chinatown that you can't find in your at-home grocery store. Look and feel the texture, smell the ideas in the future. And now I'm going to get some spring onions, also known as chives, also known as green onions. So I'm gonna take 5 of them. The first few times I tried this recipe, I used IRL Asian noodles, like with a package that only had Chinese writing. And I found them to be a little starchy and I couldn't really figure out how to make them taste good. So I'm instead using just some whole grain spaghetti. The sauce for our Dan noodles is a peanut butter based sauce. Whole grain pasta is kind of nutty, and so it goes well together. And we're just gonna cook them through the package directions until they're al dente. Pot of water is boiling. Now let's prepare the sauce. Here's a special ingredient that we're using today. Szechuan peppercorn. Get these at a fancy grocery store, probably not at your normal grocery store. It's grown in China and offers an unusual pungent flavor that begins as warm and lemon-like, woodsy overtones, and finishes with a surprising numbing effect on the tongue. Maybe that's why my lip feels numb today. Anyway, essential spice, Szechuan, like really authentic, whatever. So I'm going to take a tablespoon of these and I'm gonna toast them for a minute and then grind them up. So I'm taking my little cast iron skillet, which is what I like to use for toasting. You know they're toasted when you can start to smell them. Before they burn, I'm gonna take them off the heat here.
Zesty.
Zesty. So we've got a tablespoon Szechuan peppercorn. To that, we're going to add 1/2 cup of chicken stock. And now we're going to use a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Now I have a little thing here of Chinese chili oil. We're going to use just a teaspoon. 2 heaping tablespoons of peanut butter, the gold standard peanut butter, which is so amazingly delicious. If you don't eat peanut butter for a while, you forget like how amazingly delicious it is. Okay, and lastly, we're gonna add just a teaspoon and a half of sugar. Now we're gonna whisk this together, and we kinda wanna be able to break this peanut butter up. Take a taste, see what you think. Ooh, damn, that's spicy. That's good, really good and spicy. Aha, perfect timing, our water is boiling. Use the whole box there. Then we're gonna put in a little peanut oil, and we're gonna start cooking our meat and our veggies. Bam, bam, bam. You want to make sure you have plenty of cooking water so that they don't get too starchy. La la la, Papa was a rollin'. Put some peanut oil in here. Let that get hot. Now we're going to pour in our pork. And we are going to cook this, breaking up the lumps here, for 4 to 5 minutes until the pork is nice and brown. But we definitely want to continuously be moving things around here so that nothing burns. You can always tell if you're doing well by the way your kitchen smells. Probably want to hit this with a little bit of salt. I'm going to put it in the strainer actually to get some of that oil out. And now I believe that our noodles are nice and al dente. Woo, steam bath. Now I'm going to just heat this back up and we're going to take our pasta, pour it back into that pot, ground pork, and now we're going to take our sauce and we are going to let this cook on low, just a minute or two. Let's ready us a snack, shall we? One time my grandma Bernice called them damn noodles and we laughed for like 10 minutes. She said bam, and it was funny. Let's take a taste here. Make sure I'm showing you something yummy. That pork is delicious. The peanut butter sauce is nice and sweet. Yummy Chinese food that I got all over myself. That's a really good way to judge how tasty your meal is. If it's all over your shirt, then you know that it's gotta be good. Cook on Sunday, eat till Thursday. I'm Allie. I'll see you next time. Took a class about Chinatowns in college. It was awesome. It was really awesome, and I'm really smart. I went to a good college. 2 of them in here.